so I'm not gonna waste any time with this shit. Netflix's Death Note looks like garbage, just utter trash. This fucking abomination is the equivalent to a crusty apple straight out of Ryuk's ass. Anyone who thinks otherwise is either more out of their mind than Light, or has never seen Death Note before, and in that case, it can be forgiven that you think this looks good. I mean, if I throw away all my knowledge of Death Note and look at this objectively, it doesn't look like the worst thing ever. It still doesn't look amazing, but at least worth checking out when I have nothing fucking better to do. But Death Note is one of my favorite shows, and seeing it be turned into something that at best looks like a low-budget teen film fucking pisses me off. Which is a shame, because I was actually looking forward to this. When I first heard about it, I was like, why the hell fucking not? Live-action Death Note? Live-action American Death Note? I'm fine. They respect the material, they do everything good. I'm on board. I'm always good for more Death Note. The more Death Note, the better. Give me all that death, baby! I want to feel the warm, sticky embrace of death seeping into my pores. There is so much for me to pick apart. Oh, goody. But then we'd be here all fucking day. And let's be honest, no one wants to listen to my annoying voice for that long. So instead, I'm gonna make my point by focusing on two main elements that made Death Note great. Or in this case, the two main characters that made it great, Light and L. Let's compare the originals to their Netflix counterparts, shall we? But a couple things I'd like to get out of the way. This is a critique of the trailer. I go into this fully realizing that a trailer isn't fully representative of the final product, and that all actual criticisms should be made after seeing the actual film. Also, it should go without saying, but spoilers ahead. Although it really makes no sense for you to be watching this if you haven't seen the anime already. And in that case, all I gotta ask is, why? Don't you know Death Note is like one of the greatest animes ever? It's like drinking a nice cold iced tea on a hot summer's day. Except everyone around you is dying. I know it's kind of a shit analogy, but it's nowhere as bad as this trailer, so it'll work. Let's start with Light Yagami. Now, on the surface, Light's character is that he's a high school student with a strong sense of justice who gets the Death Note and decides to use it to kill off the world's criminal population and create a pure world filled with only good people. Now, if that's all Light is to you, then Netflix's Light shouldn't be a problem. But there's way more to his character. Tons of other intricacies that played into his personality and affected not only his choices but the overall series that are just missing here. For starters, Netflix's Light looks like a social outcast. Not a complete one, but a social outcast nonetheless, who talks like your typical angsty teen and looks like he's sad because he just got kicked out of his Fall Out Boy cover band. But Light in the original series wasn't an outcast, or an emo fuckboy for that matter. In fact, on top of being the smartest kid in Japan, he was the most popular kid in his school, the one no one picked on, the one all the girlies got wet to after school. Now admittedly, this on its own isn't the worst change ever, so Light's a bit of a loser. I can handle that. Light being popular was more of a convenient plot device than anything else. But Light being popular was the result of the biggest part of his character. He is a psychopath. He is the textbook definition of a psychopath, actually. Because of this, he was really good at faking emotions, and it allowed him to put on this facade of being an extremely charismatic and likable high school student. It was also the reason why he was really good at manipulating people, why he was obsessive when it came to planning, and why he had a complete lack of empathy for other people. Now, before I get comments saying, just because he isn't popular doesn't mean he won't have these other traits, let's go back to analyzing Netflix's Light. This Light doesn't look manipulative. It doesn't look like he's manipulating anyone. The only person it looks like he's manipulating is this chick, but she looks like she's doing this of her own free will. Which, side note, is this supposed to be Misa? Like, I honestly can't tell. And I mean, if she is, why? Just fucking why? Why? Okay, quick update. They released a promo poster and her name is apparently Mia Sutton. Who the fuck is Mia Sutton? Like, why create a new character when all they're gonna do is fill the role of an already existing character you could have used? And don't say it's because they couldn't do Misa right, because they seem to have no problem changing everything about Light and L while keeping their names. and it can't be because her name wouldn't fit the America setting, because neither does Light. Why is Light even getting her involved anyways? The only reason he brought Misa into any of it is because 1, she figured him out first, and 2, she had her own Deathnote, not only making her a potential threat to his identity, but also a valuable asset that he can manipulate and use to his advantage. And then there's a sense of empathy and remorse. First off, because Light lacked empathy, it makes no sense for him to stand up to a bully like he does here. Up until getting the Deathnote, Light wouldn't even bother looking twice at something like this because 1, it's a daily thing and it's not worth his time to stick up to one bully to protect one person. 2, up until the events of the series, he had the attitude of it's pointless, I'm powerless to do anything, I'm just one person, and even if I do something about this, it wouldn't fix the world. It was the Deathnote that gave him the confidence to do anything. But then there's also this.
We're not the good guys anymore. We're not the good guys anymore. We're not the good guys anymore. We're not the good guys anymore.
Now, I don't know about you, but from the looks of what we just saw, we are dealing with a completely remorseful and empathetic Light. Now, why is this a problem? Simple, it goes against one of the core elements of Light's character. Light didn't feel empathy for others, or remorse for his actions. To give you an idea of who we are talking about, this is a guy who let his own father die to protect his own identity, and whose actions led to the eventual kidnapping and traumatization of his younger sister, and yet he didn't give a single thought to possibly giving up this crazy crusade of being Kira. Light is not a redeemable person. Maybe at the beginning it could be debated he is, but I can argue he was too far gone to begin with. He was definitely too far gone by the time he killed Ray Penbar, but semantics. Who needs him, right? Fuck him. This plotline of Light will end up seeing the error of his ways. It just comes off as a cheap attempt to make the character appeal to a general audience, because it's not like they can handle a bit of a controversial protagonist who makes them question if the ends justify his means. Nope, they need somebody who redeems himself. They need somebody who realizes his wrongs, because the audience is too fucking stupid to take anything else, to handle anything else, to see anything else. They think you're fucking stupid and need Light to realize the error of his ways for you to like him. Not realizing that what made Light such an interesting character to begin with was the fact that he didn't see the error of his ways. He thought to the very end, full-heartedly, that he was the good guy, that he was in the right, that the ends did justify the means. But we have to have a likable protagonist, so fuck it, let's go against everything that made Light Light. Even the new trailer that they just dropped of him meeting Ryuk for the first time, it just continues to make things worse that they show off a Light who is scared, unsure of himself, and hasn't got a fucking clue what's going on. Hell, Ryuk has to push him into using the Deathnote, which means one of two things. 1. Light is a total wuss who's afraid to use the Deathnote and has to be convinced by Ryuk to do so, which not only defeats the purpose of Ryuk having to write the instructions into the Deathnote, but goes against the character of Light. Or 2, Light has used the Deathnote once before this scene, and the experience freaks him out so much that he doesn't use it again until convinced by Ryuk to do so, which also goes against his character. Yes, Light had an initial freakout period after using the Deathnote, but Light is not just some reckless young kid who got in way over his head. He knew from the first episode what he was doing and how he felt about it, and he did so before Ryuk even showed up to his doorstep. And by the second episode, he knew what he was up against and how hard he was going to have to fight for his new world. However, if what they did to Light wasn't bad enough, just wait till you see L. Light doesn't even hold a fucking candle to L. Now, I'm just gonna get the elephant out of the room. L is black. With that said, that doesn't bother me. It doesn't even bug me. It's the one change about L here that doesn't bug me, nor do I see why it should bug anyone else. I think it's being done for dumb reasons, mainly to appeal and appease a ravenous, diversity-crazed SJW audience, but I personally couldn't give any less of a shit what race they are, as long as they play the character right and do the role justice. Anyone who is bothered by L being black is just as irrational as anyone who complained about Scarlett Johansson being in Ghost in the Shell. But come on, this isn't L. This just isn't L. Where do I even fucking start? First off, L would never do a public press conference, mainly to do with the fact that before Deathnote he wasn't dealing with somebody with a magical fucking notebook. Meaning, going out in public would put his life at risk regardless if he gave his name or face. Not that he didn't go out in public though, but when he did, he always used some kind of alias, not publicly do it as L in a fucking press conference.
Oh, but it's okay because we covered his face, look, see?
Except L never had to cover his face when he went out, because one of L's biggest offenses for hiding his identity, other than using his aliases, was just how weird he was. Okay, take your mind out of the universe of Deathnote for a second and look at what I'm about to throw at you logically in a real life scenario. If I came up to you and I pointed at this fucking guy on the screen and said, he is L, the greatest detective in the world, would you believe me? Chances are probably not without substantial evidence, that is, that of which was impossible to get. One of the points of the scene where the task force meets L isn't just to fully introduce the character and advance the plot, but it was to show how taken back they were by his demeanor and appearance, to show their doubt that this guy really was the great detective he say he is. But let's still give the character a chance. How does he act?
You're the one who flew into the sun. I'm just here to make sure you burn.
I promise you, you will not survive.
This guy acts nothing like L, not a single bit, and I'm not sure if it's the actor or just shit writing. I'm gonna guess shit writing. But their L actually makes their light look good. I can do a fucking better L. I don't sit like this because I want to. I have to sit like this. See, if I were to sit normally, my deductive skills would easily be reduced by 40%. See, I have zero acting experience and put no effort into it, I'm already a better L. Almost makes you wonder why Netflix didn't give me a casting call. No, but in all seriousness, this is L.
Bang. What the hell was that? If I were Kira, you'd be dead, Mr. Soichiro Yagami, chief of the NPA.
Your father is Chief Soichiro Yagami of the NPA. Your respect for your father is matched only by your strong sense of justice. I don't sit like this because I want to. I have to sit like this. You see, if I were to sit normally, my deductive skills would immediately be reduced by roughly 40%. It's not my deduction that was wrong. The fact is, I can say that Light Yagami is Kira, and Misa Amane is the second Kira, but it won't be enough to solve the case, and that's why I'm a little depressed. Is that so unreasonable? Please hold the line for a second. Deputy Director Kitamura, it was Chief Yagami who just drove into the building. Are your preparations complete?
But seeing as I only had 3 photographs to work with, my deduction was perfect.
No, it wasn't. The truth is, there were 4 of them. If you'd figured that out, it would have been perfect. Even though you knew the message was incomplete, you decided that there were only 3 notes. You never even considered that there might be a 4th. What do you make of that? Yes, Light, there's no need to be shy.
I'm not being shy.
No need to be so serious either.
This guy is just way too aggressive to be L. Even L is most riled up talked with a level head. You know, Netflix, just because he's black doesn't mean he has to be aggressive. I mean, 1, think of the negative stereotype you're reinforcing on black people. Secondly, it just doesn't fit the fucking character. It makes him come off as irrational and hot-headed. You know, the exact opposite of L. No amount of him sitting weird will convince me this is a good adaptation. L is supposed to be odd and a bit quirky. This guy doesn't come off as either, just pissed off. Like, why is he going on these long tirades about how Light flew too close to the sun and he will be the one to bring him down? Sure, he had some monologues about how Kira is only human and he is willing to do anything, even risk his life to stop him, but he wouldn't even confront Light with these. It made no sense for him to. Yeah, he let Light know he suspected him of being Kira, but he always talked to Light like he would anyone else on the task force. Now all his dialogue is melodramatic speeches about how he is stopping Light no matter what, and how Light will not survive, and he's shouting Light at the top of his lungs, Light! Light! Like, congratulations on taking one of the most interesting anime characters and making them into a generic angry black dude. Thanks, Netflix! This is totally what I wanted, Netflix! Good job, Netflix! Way to go, Netflix! Which, on top of making their rivalry look like your typical dime a dozen detective criminal standoff, it misses yet another key point of Light and L's characters, or shall we say, relationship. And that being that in any other universe, in any other scenario, had Light not been the one to find the Deathnote and become Kira, they actually would have been the bestest of friends and the greatest detective duo ever. And to me, that was what made their rivalry so great. It was that sense of camaraderie between them. L even admits at one point in the series that Light is the only true friend he has ever had. See, L wanted to catch Kira more than anything, and he knew Light was Kira, but he didn't want Light to be Kira. I believe this is one of the main reasons L doesn't just blindly prosecute him. I mean, other than the fact that L just can't prosecute someone without evidence. He wanted to be sure because in the back of his mind, L wanted Light to prove him wrong. He wanted Light not to be Kira. And even after L eventually dies, Light ends up respecting him in the end because of just how much he challenged him. He respects L so much that it leads him to believe that no one can match L's intelligence, causing him to get careless and underestimate L's successors enough for them to solve the case. But because these two have changed so much, how they interact with each other changes. The dynamic between them becomes different, and I would argue the dynamic is the main thing that makes Deathnote interesting. As much as the basic concept of Deathnote is unique, it's there to pull you into the real adventure. These two great stubborn but similar minds having a battle of wits to see who can catch who first. It wasn't just the Deathnote and the fact that they were super smart that made the battle so great. It was because of who they are as people, not what their motivations are. But that's the problem. The people making this probably never actually watched Deathnote. They probably just walked into a room where someone was watching Deathnote, saw some cool imagery, a decent concept, and an angsty teen going up against a detective who sits weird, and said to themselves, I can so make an adaptation out of this, just watch me. But they fail to see what made Deathnote truly great. And I want to make something very clear. It's not that things were changed. I've always been, for lack of a better term, an advocate for adaptations doing what they want. Hell, as someone who loves Deathnote, there's tons of things that could be improved. A lot of these things being typical anime tropes that found their way into the show, like constant exposition that explains things you literally just saw, a lack of subtlety in the themes that they're trying to present, and being over the top.
I'll take a potato chip and eat it.
Well, for the sake of being over the top, but as long as they capture the spirit of what made said thing good, I have no problem with them changing stuff. A good example of what I'm talking about, it would be Spider-Man Homecoming, though they did make some changes that I personally don't agree with. Like, why the hell was Flash Thompson this whippy looking brown kid who acted lamer than Peter Parker would pre-Spider-Man days is beyond my fucking comprehension, but ultimately, I enjoyed the movie because it captured the spirit of Spider-Man. It captured what made Spider-Man good, so the things that they changed didn't bug me because the things that they kept were the things that I liked about Spider-Man to begin with. Now, other than the fact that this Light wants to create a new world and this L wants to stop him, what about these characters represents their original counterparts? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. They have completely missed the point of these two characters. Now, in some ways, it's absurd for me to base my whole judgment on a film based on two characters, but when those two characters are supposed to be the focus of the series, yeah, I'm gonna base my judgment on that. You damn right I'm gonna base my whole judgment on that. If they can't even get the main characters of the series right, how can I expect them to get anything else right? Why should I even expect them to make improvements on the things I don't like about the original series when they clearly have no understanding of what made said thing good in the first place? It's not that they are doing things differently, it's that they are missing the point in the process. Even worse, they are trying to play this middle line of, let's do our own story, but let's also use the names of the original characters in order to pull in the original fan base. It's the same shit those awful fucking Resident Evil movies do. Oh look, it's Claire! She looks nothing like Claire, and she acts nothing like Claire, but her name is Claire, so she's Claire, look at us, we know our lore, we know the license. And all I have to say to that is fuck right off. Either make your own Deathnote story with your own characters, or do the characters right. I'm not asking for a recreation of the anime. I would like to see things play out differently, but if you're going to use the names of the characters I love, make them actually feel like they're supposed to. Make them actually feel like the characters they're supposed to represent, because as it currently stands, they don't. No one in this feels like their respective counterpart. Well, except Ryuk. Ryuk is the only good thing about this trailer. Casting William Dafoe for the role, great choice. Only good thing you guys have done so far. But one good character doesn't make up for everything else. So there you have it. why I think Netflix's Death Note looks like utter trash, and why I'm most likely gonna hate it, because I'm most likely gonna watch it anyways, just if anything to rip it apart. I'm gonna go play in traffic now though, so I'll see you guys later.